Hi, this is Pat Fraley. As I visit different regions around the country this year, teaching audiobook skills and guiding talent into making audiobook narration book deals and making demos, I thought it might be of value for you to listen to some examples of wonderful narrators and get a sense of how their personal styles vary. It should be an encouragement to you to hear the varied styles which are needed for audiobook narration. So here goes. Here's the superstar of audiobook narrators, Scott Brick, reading an excerpt from What Makes Sammy Run by Bud Schulberg. There's nothing particularly unusual about Scott's voice. It's all about connecting with the listener and his storytelling abilities at unwinding that story. Also, Scott has the ability to give you the style of the piece. Notice how he takes on the feel of a 1930s or 1940s movie that's perfect for the book.
The first time I saw him, he couldn't have been much more than 16 years old. A little ferret of a kid, sharp and quick. Sammy Glick. Used to run copy for me. Always ran. Always looked thirsty. "Good morning, Mr. Mannheim," he said to me the first time we met. "I'm the new office boy, but I ain't gonna be an office boy long." "Don't say ain't," I said, "or you'll be an office boy forever." "Thanks, Mr. Mannheim," he said. "That's why I took this job, so I can be around writers and learn all about grammar and how to act right." 9 out of 10 times I wouldn't have even looked up, but there was something about the kid's voice that got me. It must have been charged with a couple of 1,000 volts. "So, you're a pretty smart little feller," I said. "Oh, I keep my ears and eyes open," he said. "You don't do a bad job with your mouth either," I said. "I wondered if newspaper men always wisecrack the way they do in the movies," he said. "Get the hell out of here," I answered. He raced out, too quickly, a little ferret. Smart kid, I thought. Smart little yid. He made me uneasy. That sharp, neat, eager little face. I watched the thin, wiry body dart around the corner in high gear. It made me uncomfortable. I guess I've always been afraid of people who can be agile without grace.
Now listen to Renee Rodman as she perfectly balances reading with embodying the characters with a reality in this excerpt from the young adult book, Wesley, The Story of a Remarkable Owl by Stacey O'Brien.
I was a little nervous about asking if I could bring an owl home to live with us, but she just smiled and patted her horse on the neck. "A barn owl? Won't he be a great addition to the family?" "Wendy," I said, "I'll have to keep dead mice in the freezer and cut up mice in the fridge. Would that be okay?" "Meat is meat," she shrugged. "I mean, a lot of mice, Wendy." "A lot of mice? How many is a lot?" "Well, probably thousands of mice as time goes by." "How long do barn owls live, anyway?" she asked. I'm not sure how long they live in captivity, maybe up to 15 or 20 years. "Well, I think you should do it," she said. "It's the chance of a lifetime."
Here's an excerpt by Carrington McDuffie from Abiding Darkness by John Aubrey Anderson, where we hear her wonderful skill at doing some strong character work.
"Boy," he never called Mose anything else, "there ain't never gonna be no drink better than coffee. 'Cept in heaven, I reckon." The frail old man nodded and spoke as he bent to put the cup by the rocking chair. "'Cept in heaven is right, boy. Gonna drink from the fountain that don't never run dry. A sure enough pure river of living water, clear as crystal, proceeding straight out of the throne. Now that's a drink to shame the best cup of coffee on the place."
Now, here's a sample from Kata Mazer, narrating from the Nanny Diaries. Kata is a stellar reader, but by her own admission, has a kind of vanilla voice. One of her greatest skills, and one that is sought after by producers and publishers, is her ability to connect to the listener by giving the impression she's reading to one person.
If there were any justice in the world, this is the point when all nannies should be given roadblocks and a stun gun. These rooms are destined to become the burden of my existence. From this point on, 95% of this apartment will be nothing more than a blurred background for chasing, enticing, and point-blank pleading with the child to put the Delft milkmaid down. I am also about to become intimate with more types of cleaning fluid than I knew there were types of dirt. It will be in her pantry, stocked high above the washer-dryer, that I discover people actually import toilet bowl cleanser from Europe. We arrive in the kitchen. It is enormous. With a few partitions, it could easily house a family of 4. She stops to rest one manicured hand on the counter, affecting a familiar pose, like a captain at the helm about to address the crew. However, I know if I asked her where she keeps the flour, a half hour of rummaging through unused baking utensils would ensue.
Here's my friend and wonderful actor, Richard McGonigal, who is fully capable of doing character voice work, but in this excerpt from Roosevelt and Churchill, Men of Secrets by David Stafford, Richard keeps to a rather dry read, almost reporting, which I think is perfect for the book.
Franklin Roosevelt learned of Hitler's attack on Western Europe late on the evening of 9 May 1940 in a telephone call from his ambassador in Belgium. Ensconced in his favorite red-leather armchair in the second-floor study of the White House, surrounded by his collection of maritime pictures and models of ships, he listened grimly to the news of simultaneous attacks by more than 100 German divisions on Belgium, Holland, Luxembourg, and France. 90 minutes later, the first reports began to filter in of bombs falling on Brussels, Amsterdam, and Rotterdam, and he stayed up until the early hours to digest them.
Here's Hillary Huber reading from Going to Bend. She has that skill of giving the listener the impression she's reading right to them. Also, Hillary is wonderful at making bold character choices.
While Petey diced 50 carrots, Rose read aloud from the weekly newspaper about old Billy Wall, who had just been indicted on sodomy charges. You know what I think? I think if he did what those kids say he did, the guy deserves to have a bad thing happen to him. I mean worse than shame and a jail term. I mean something bad. They should take him just like you'd take a carrot and peel him down real slow, real careful, layer by layer, until you've got him peeled naked as an egg. And then you bring him to Hubbard Elementary and you lock him in the gym with 20 mothers with baseball bats. You put some Gatorade in there and some high-nutrition snacks and maybe have an alternate or two who can substitute when one of the women gets tired. She traded Rose the peeler for a paring knife. The son of a bitch.
Now here's an excerpt from Better Than I Know Myself by Virginia DuBarry and Donna Grant. It's read by one of our favorite readers, Lisa Renee Pitts. We hire her for all the books we have produced written by African-American authors. Listen to how Lisa Renee reads as if she becomes each character, including the author's narrator.
I wish they'd all go to hell. Carmen felt the throbbing bass of her brother's stereo vibrate the steel fire door as she shoved her key in the last of 4 locks. How you gonna throw that card down? She knew Z and some of the fools he hung with were in there, playing pinochle or dirty hearts, eating greasy egg rolls and pork fried rice.
Now here's Raven Kane reading from Jewel Plum Sykes' book Bergdorf Blondes. Raven's voice and performance are just right for the material.
The Upper East Side wife I met is called Muffy. Apparently it was once a very popular name in Connecticut, where most Muffies were born, roughly in the middle of the last century. This Muffy, like all her neighborhood Muffies, says, "Ralph Lauren is my drug of choice." She's also addicted to Botox injections.
What book would benefit from your narration skills and style of reading? What is your personal style? I'll be near you to help. If you'd like to join these gainfully employed audiobook narrators, a schedule of when I'll be in your neck of the woods can be found at my website, patfraley.com. When there, just go to my Learn page. Thanks for watching.